got some interesting eBay sold data around that. We're going to look at the week 1 schedule a little bit. We're going to do some digging on that. Let's see what else we got here. Question from Mark Speltz about my top 5 lessons learned over the past 2.5 years. That's going to be pretty interesting. I think we can have a pretty good conversation about that. Second-year cards. What about second-year cards of top quarterbacks and stuff? We're going to talk about that. $300. If you had $300 to spend on one specific card to flip by the end of the season, which one would it be? So if you guys are just hopping in. And then last but not least, it looks like we're going to touch on some Terrace Marshall by the end of this. And shout out to Roberto Romero. Roberto looks like he was in here at 527 yesterday. I can't wait. Awesome. Well, I hope you're out there, Roberto. Good morning to you guys. Got the coffee going. And let's dig into this content, man. Let's dig into this mailbag. All right. So, is there a case when ripping is a good investment? So let's talk about this, because I pulled up the Steel City Collectibles website here, and they have some interesting offerings available for sale. They now actually have 2021 Prism hanger boxes here, one with the light blue prisms, one with the red ice prisms, for $49 and $39. And my thought has always been, if you can get sealed product at retail prices, whether it's optic or prism specifically, because it is such a liquid product, it is such a demanded, popular product within the hobby, that it's a good rip, because you have it's also a great investment. Like, let's make no mistake about it. It's a better investment long term if you hold it sealed, but there is entertainment value when you rip it open, right? I mean, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of entertainment value that you get from ripping a football card product open. So if you can get it for retail prices, then a lot of times I'm going to say rip it, because you're going to have fun. You get that experience. Plus, you have a potential to pull any of the great skill position players, or any of the first-round quarterbacks. The 5 first-round quarterbacks are now Davis Mills, who's been, getting a lot of hype lately. So you have, I would say, probably at least 10 to 11 relevant players that could easily pay the value of that box off. So that's kind of my thought process there. Now, if you want to look at things like the price of optic, because optic is one of those products that I think gets and you can see here, the mega boxes are 120. This is 2021. That's a base Donruss. But if we were talking about optic, there's a lot of 3 for 300. So about 100 to 120, it looks like, for the 2021 optic. The 2020 optic megas are at 330. Now, it's always important to remember to look at sold transactions. So, okay. So yeah, they're about 110 per on the 2021 optic. And these are a bunch of baseball ones. Must have just came out. Whoa. Yeah, it's a break. Somebody put football in the description. All right, here we go. 190, but that's a 2021 base Donruss, because optic typically has a pretty good hit rate. And of course, you're always going to run into, little off-centering issues out of the pack, out of the box. That's just going to happen, especially when you're talking retail product. There's, thousands of boxes out there. So that's definitely an issue. But if we're talking generally speaking, if you can get a mega box, if you can get a blaster box, a hanger box for retail prices, have some fun, rip it open, and get after it. Hey, yo, what's going on, Sean? Ken, I got a question from Ken. So question from Ken, I remember that he posted up. Let's go ahead and talk about Ken's question right here on eBay. Ken is new to the hobby, so welcome, Ken, to the quest. You're a good man, Ken. So Ken's question was about Prism and Prism Silver. So when you look at 2017 Prism, for example, let's just pull up Cooper Cup. Let's see what the 2017 Prism Cooper Cup is going for. And his question was around how can you tell if it's a silver Prism or a base card? And the easiest way to tell is this rainbow shine on the front. You see how these cards have this rainbow shine on the front? Anytime a card has a rainbow shine on the front of it, that's a silver. If it doesn't, like any of these that don't have that rainbow shine on the front, you don't even need to look at the back. You can just tell right off the bat. Any of these cards that don't have that rainbow shine on the front are not silver. Now all of a sudden you see how this one has a glossy rainbow finish to the front of it. That's how you know right off the bat that that card is silver. So that's the easy giveaway. The other thing that you could do is look at the back of it. And that's kind of like if they take a bad picture to where you're unsure, then you look at the back of it like 2017. This is a ComC, but you can see where my mouse is at the bottom. It says Prism. A lot of times now they say it at the top. They put it somewhere around the number of the card. That's an easy dead giveaway to tell if it's Prism. Yeah, there you go, Brian. Brian's got it. Rainbow shine equals mo money. That's right, man. That's right. So good morning to you guys. Let's see what else we got in the mailbag. Gas said for these new rookies. All right, let's talk some new rookies because there are some new rookies that clearly went up in geez, man, my glasses it's like crooked. There we go. So let's talk new rookies. Is it okay to have their rookie premier cards like Alec Pierce? Shout out to Sean. Romeo Dobbs, Kenny Pickett. Well, if you mention Kenny Pickett, you got to mention George Pickens, man. George Pickens, such a stud. Any player really, will they hold value or see a gain if they play good? So they absolutely will see a gain if they play good here in the preseason. So let's look at the 2022 Rookie Premier sold transactions. They absolutely will see a gain. You can see, look at some of these aren't even numbered. So in the base variation of these Panini Instant cards, which you could get directly from the Panini website with your Panini Rewards points, or now you can get them from eBay. They have a base variation that is non-numbered that looks just like this. These are sold transactions. So Danny Gray had himself a nice touchdown over the past weekend. And look at what his card is going for. Plus, it's a cool photo. Plus, they get him in their pro uniforms. He's going to be one of the only cards out right now besides like the Panini packs from the National that had some pro uniform rookies in there. This product right here, you haven't. Some of the inserts from Chronicles have a professional team logo on the card, but not the pro uniform. But pretty soon we will have some more cards with pro uniforms like Gold Standard and Elements. Those will come out pretty soon. But look at this sold transaction. $20 for this base card of George Pickens from the Panini Instant Rookie Premier. $12 for the Malik Willis after he had a decent start. And some of these are serial numbered. So this one's serial numbered out of 969, where they just print it on the back. All they're doing is printing. You can see one of 969 there. So it's a printed serial number on the back of this card, but the other ones don't have it. There's a lot that don't have it as well. James Cook. So you can see these cards going up in value, especially guys like George Pickens, Romeo Dobbs, Kenny Pickett. Here's another George Pickens that sold for $25. Arguably the most hyped guy. I don't think Isaiah Pacheco has one, or he would absolutely be steamed up as well. His cards would be selling for a lot as well. So you can see they do have some value short term, and they are selling at a low level short term. Aiden Hutchinson had some nice bull rushes, nice tackle behind the line of scrimmage last week. So had some sales, man. There's a Breece Hall for $336. Another Kenny Pickett. Some Dameon Pierce, man. Dameon Pierce is taking over that Texans backfield. Showed great run, great vision, great explosiveness. I mean, the guy looked like he's the RB1 there in Houston. Let's go and sort by highest first and look at the recent transactions. Last week, a Panini Instant Bailey Zappi auto numbered 1/1 sold for $2,000. Now 1/1 black Tyrion Davis Price, even though he's like the RB4 now on the depth chart behind Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson, and Trey Sermon, the 3rd round pick that they spent in 2021. Tyrion Davis Price but you know, that San Francisco fan base is massive. We got Messiah out there. Yeah, poor man's. I agree with you, man. I think Davis Mills is wildly underrated. I think he's going to have a great season. Willis missed Burks on a couple of touchdown bombs. I know. If you watch the film study on Treylon Burks, he got wide open, man. So Texans did pick up Marlon Mack, and right now they're splitting touches. Technically, Marlon Mack is the number 1 running back ahead of Dameon Pierce on that depth chart, but Marlon Mack did not show nearly the explosiveness, the vision, the ability to separate and generate yards after contact that Dameon Pierce did. And Dameon Pierce is a rocked up, juiced up rookie. So I expect him to physically and just assert his dominance in that backfield and take it over. Look at this Sam Howell. You know, Sam Howell had those 2 rushing touchdowns. He had a solid rookie premier performance this past weekend. So if anything happens to Carson Wentz, there's a high likelihood that it's going to be Sam Howell pushed out there instead of Taylor Heineke. Okay, guys. And you can see the hype already building up. Sam Howell, there's a nice transaction for around $400. There's a Kenneth Walker who's already missing time with a hernia. So he's going to be out probably till the middle of September. But you can see the prices there. Ken Walker, 7 out of 10 autographed. Breece Hall, 5 out of 10, 400. So I was actually talking to a guy who bought a bunch of these from Panini. You can see how they're all sealed from Panini, these autographed ones. And he was getting them for about 200, 150 on average, and made a bunch of money off of them. So this is absolutely something next year that I'm looking to get into. There's this guy more for 250, the George Pickens. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these, they're so rare and there's such a limited product autographed with the player in the pro uniform right now that these were immediately flipped. You can immediately flip these for a profit. And so this is definitely something I'm going to be looking into next year to get into. I'm not holding any of them long term though. None of them are being held long term. Now, if we look at the week 1 schedule, this was a question from Jonathan Taylor Cards, and maybe we don't get through all these, but I'm going to try and go lightning round for you guys here. Week 1 schedule, pick 1 player from each matchup to score. Doesn't matter which team or position, more so just curious who you guys think is primed in each matchup going into the season. Well, there's a bunch of guys I could project to score from this Bills-Rams game, but I'm going to go right off the bat and say Allen Robinson's going to score, no doubt about it. Josh Allen's going to score. I don't know which receiver potentially scores or if he rushes in a touchdown, but those would be guys I predict there. Lions, absolutely love me some Lions. I'm going to say DJ Chark is going to score in this game for the Lions. On the Eagles side, somebody's going to score. Probably going to be A.J. Brown or Dallas Goedert or Jalen Hurts, but that's another really fun game to watch their NFC matchup. I think the Lions are also wildly underrated as well. So I'm a big Jared Goff fan this year. I think his prices are still wildly undervalued when I look at the Jared Goff transactions because you think about his draft pedigree. He's a former number 1 overall pick. People were very high on him coming out of Cal. They now have incredible weapons in DJ Chark and Amon-Ra St. Brown, TJ Hawkinson. They're going to get Jamison Williams, the rookie from Alabama, the incredibly talented speedster. And then you got one of the top tier offensive lines now in the league. Plus, you get DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams in the backfield. I mean, what's not to like about the Lions offense and Jared Goff? He's a former quarterback that's been to a Super Bowl with the Rams, number 1 overall pick. And so if you look at like the value of his Prism PSA 10, you could get that card right now in auction for $75. I mean, the 52-week high was $169, but if you were to compare this to a Derrick Henry or Dak Prescott or something like that, that's a PSA 10 Prism of about $400. So, you know, why not? Why can't Jared Goff's Prism PSA 10 go back up to 170, 200. Especially, like, can you imagine if the Lions somehow beat the Eagles week 1? Oh, you better watch out. I mean, it's going to be hype city. I mean, it's going to be so hype. It's crazy because the Lions typically lose those kind of matchups, and they had a very losing record last year until back in last third of the season. So, I would predict the Lions absolutely are going to score in that game, whether it's Chark or Amon-Ra St. Brown, maybe T-Hawk or maybe DeAndre Swift, but there's going to be some scoring in that game. I predicted that game to be more of a shootout. The Niners-Bears, you gotta think the Niners are definitely going to score in this game. I think it's Elijah Mitchell probably gets that first score. Steelers-Bengals. Well, Joe Burrow's already back on the practice field throwing passes to one Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. One of those guys is going to score in this game. Maybe it's Tyler Boyd, but one of those guys, or all three of them, are going to score in this game against the Steelers, no doubt. Patriots, Dolphins, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is going to score on the Patriots. Better believe that. On the Patriots side, maybe it's Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker, little revenge game for him. Maybe he connects with Mac Jones, or it's Ramondre Stevenson scored in that game. For the Browns, it's absolutely going to be Nick Chubb score against the Panthers. On the Panthers side, though, I expect them to win this game with Baker Mayfield as their starting quarterback. And Baker's going to connect with none other than DJ Moore for that touchdown. Maybe Christian McCaffrey gets in for one as well. Maybe Robbie Anderson as well. I expect Baker to go wild against the Browns there in a revenge game. The Texans, let's get that Nico Collins, that Brandon Cooks, the Dameon Pierce, hype going. I think they absolutely play well in this game. This is a divisional matchup, AFC South matchup here, but the Colts have that firepower now with Matt Ryan. Michael Pittman has been unstoppable in training camp so far. In the joint practices they were doing yesterday, he's beating everybody. He's just destroying competition out there. So Michael Pittman's going to score. Maybe Jonathan Taylor too in a red zone opportunity. On the other side, though, Mills is going to light it up. He's going to connect with Nico, Brandon Cooks, maybe Brevin Jordan. So I expect some scoring there as well. Saints, Falcons. Now this is a question: do we get Andy Dalton or do we get Jameis Winston? And on the other side, Drake London is currently dealing with a little knee injury. I think he will be ready by week 1. Desmond Ridder had a very impressive first preseason start. So another projection I'd like you guys to make and talk about is how many games does Marcus Mariota actually start this year versus Desmond Ridder. So that's a very interesting storyline. But I love Kyle Pitts to score in this game against the Saints. They've also been lining Kyle Pitts up more as a true tight end, which then puts him against linebackers and D linemen, which is just a mismatch nightmare, right? And Kyle Pitts could put up some insane tight end 1 numbers this year, especially if a rookie quarterback has thrown him the ball half the season. On the Saints side, yeah, you got to think Michael Thomas gets in here, and I think Kamara is going to be available for that game. The Ravens, Rashad Bateman, week 1, scoring, no doubt. On the Jets side, Joe Flacco's out there. I actually think that might be better for the offense, and you could absolutely see him maximize more of that potential from Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson. The Jags, let's get a Travis Etienne score on the board for sure. The Commanders side, I think you got to think Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin, definitely get in there. You may get some of that running game going. Antonio Gibson's stock is way down. He's now involved in special teams. And Ron Rivera, who knows what he's got going on there, but it looks like Brian Robinson may be involved in that game more than we think. The Packers, I hate to tell you this, guys, but Alan Lazard is still the wide receiver 1 for me on that team. But I think it's going to be Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon scoring in this game against the Vikings. But if it was a wide receiver, I'm gonna pick Lazard. But it's interesting to note that A.J. Dillon himself, who participates in a sleeper bowl, a fantasy football draft, A.J. Dillon himself drafted Romeo Doubs in the 9th or 10th round of this 14-team league, and then picked Aaron Rodgers the next round. He picked Romeo Doubs in the 9th and Aaron Rodgers in the 10th. So That says something, man. That says something. That's what AJ Dillon did. This is a true story. These are facts that I've heard recently on one of my favorite podcasts, Roto Underworld. So, that is something that actually happened. So I still think it's Alan Lazard that probably finishes the season better, but that's worth noting. That's worth noting. And AJ Dillon won that league last year. He won that Sleeper Bowl fantasy football league last year. So he takes it seriously, man. The Giants, Titans, Robert Woods, everybody. No, it's probably Derrick Henry that you can definitely put Derrick Henry down for a score in this game for sure. On the other side, that's interesting. Saquon Barkley. I'm going to go with the running backs in this game. Going Saquon Barkley, who is tired of critics doubting his athletic ability and his recovery. We're going Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry in that game. The Raiders, Chargers. On the Raiders side, you got to think Devontae Adams gets in. No doubt about that. Devontae Adams finds a way to score. He releases off the line of scrimmage. His releases are just out of this world. On the Chargers side, man, now you got quite a few weapons. We got to think Austin Eckler is involved there in a scoring capacity. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. It's probably, if I had to pick one of those guys, Mike Williams would be my go-to, in terms of scoring there. That's an absolute shootout game written all over it. Very excited to see that game week 1. Chiefs, Cardinals, man, put Juju Smith-Schuster down for a score. Travis Kelce down for a score. Isaiah Pacheco continuing to steam up that depth chart, eventually taking over Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on a decline. I think we could see Clyde Edwards-Helaire probably on the Bengals and after his rookie contract or something, traded to the Bengals to be like a satellite backup running back for his former college quarterback Joe Burrow. But yeah, that's on the Cardinals side. I think we got to look at James Conner for sure. If James Conner is healthy, I think he gets a pretty heavy workload and passing volume as well. But of course, Kyler Murray with his rushing ability probably is going to score in some capacity. Maybe some combination of Rondale Moore, Marquise Brown, if he's available and healthy and stuff. You got no D-Hop. Maybe A.J. Green is there for a contested catch in the end zone. Bucks, Cowboys, hopefully Tom Brady's back from his vacation, his hiatus, whatever he's got. That's why I love them appointing Todd Bowles as the head coach, because he's got such a good poker face. Like, he's just not giving anything to the media. He doesn't care, like, what they think or how they perceive his comments. Like, he's just like, no timeline for return, and so it's a big storyline, of course, but guys, Tom Brady will be back. I have the utmost confidence. On the Cowboys side, you got to think CeeDee Lamb, Zeke, Tony Pollard, one of those guys gets in. Maybe it's Schultz, maybe it's Jalen Tolbert, but primarily CeeDee Lamb or Zeke there. Broncos, Seahawks, Monday Night Football, the revenge game for one Russell Wilson. He's going to light it up, man. And I don't necessarily think the guy scoring is probably going to be Cortland Sutton, or it could be Albert Uegbunam, or it could be KJ Hamler if KJ Hamler is healthy. Potentially Jerry Judy, of course. Put Jerry Judy in that conversation. I'm just not as big on Judy in how I'm just not convinced that Judy is going to be this elite wide receiver in the NFL. Just based on his 9%, he had a 9% contested catch rate last year. That's one of the lowest in the league amongst wide receivers. I think it's because Jerry Judy, he gets nervous running over the middle. He's a little bit more frail, and he does not want to get hit. So he's looking for guys that can potentially hit him instead of focusing on catching the ball. And if they line him up on the outside, he's not a physically imposing guy like Cortland Sutton. So, if they use him in that capacity, and KJ Hamler, who's got no fear. Obviously, you listen to KJ Hamler in his conferences, stuff like that. KJ Hamler's got no fear. He'll run across the middle. He'll sacrifice his body for that potential hit to catch that ball. So that's my week 1. The Seahawks, they could get shut out in this game, guys. I ain't going to lie. They get shut out in this game. Maybe DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett connects for a big one, or maybe Rashad Penny's healthy, or Ken Walker. They find a way to get in. But it's going to be a bloodbath where the Broncos destroy the Seahawks there. So how about that, Sean, for that rundown? Let's see what else we got in the mailbag. Drex. Oh, okay. So this comment was from Drex, and this is such a cool card right here, guys. This Pen Pals, Derek Carr, Devontae Adams, Pen Pals. I mean, how cool is that when you get a QB1 stacked with a wide receiver 1 on the same rookie card, autographed? That's sweet because of that college connection. So I've seen ones like this with Kyle Trask, Kadarius Toney. You could probably find one like this for Kyler Murray, CeeDee Lamb. Those are interesting ones because they're great players, but these guys are now on the same team. That makes it even more exciting. Those other guys I just mentioned are on different NFL teams. So I think there's a lot of appeal if they made cards that were kind of designed for fantasy gamers. Like I know a lot of you guys, if not all of you guys out there, play fantasy football like I do. And it would be really cool to have, maybe like a handcuff running back, like a Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison card, right? Or Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard card. That would be cool. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon card. That would be sick, in my opinion, if we had dual cards like that, or the stacks, the QB wide receiver stacks. I think that would be really cool. Like, I would love to have a Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce card. I think that would be sick. Something like that. I think they should make, and I'm sure there's some out there in very limited capacity. I'd have to find some, but I think that they would kind of garner value. I looked up some of the new pen pals. Like, I'm not big on this one. When you have two quarterbacks, different teams, just because they were both drafted early in the first round, they're printed on the same card. I'm not big on that. Like Jared Stidham, N'Keal Harry, I'd be lucky to get a few dollars out of that. Let's see what we got here. A Juju, James Conner. So I think they need to refine because there's a college connection there from these guys. I think they need to refine their stacking, their handcuffing ideology, methodology with these cards that would make them a little bit better. Like Josh Reynolds, Cooper Kupp. You got one guy turned out to be a bust. You got another Super Bowl MVP. Like, yeah, sure, this card went for 90, but if it was just Cooper Kupp, it would have gone for 200, So those are the kind of things that, like Cortland Sutton, Royce Freeman, one guy is hardly playing, if at all, anymore, and the other guy is a wide receiver 1 on his team. Kyler Murray, Andy Isabella. Now, Andy Isabella is still on the Cardinals, so he's just buried on that depth chart. But hey, there's a possibility he may score week 1 there. Nick Bosa, Deebo Samuel. Okay, now we're talking. That's pretty cool. Nick Bosa is just a massive, jacked human being, Goliath out there. John Ross, though. John Ross is like buried on the depth chart somewhere, a free agent at this point. So, yeah, some of these stacks are really interesting, guys, that either aren't playing or something. Now, talking about Honeynut. Honeynut had a question: which players' base rookie cards should we be selling before the season starts? And so what I'm here on our web app that was built by Jarritos. And so I'm on Jared Goff, but let's just back out of Jared Goff's name. And let's just look at the PSA 10 activity on the total sales. Which cards are getting the most sales right now in a 30-day period? It's led by all base cards. You can see that these are all base cards right here. Base Donruss, base Donruss, base Mosaic, base Prism, base Donruss, and because these are the cards that are most widely available. So if you're looking at these base cards, it's definitely smart to target the grade because that's what's going to set them apart from the mass sea of just base raw ones. Like a base raw Joe Burrow card still barely sells for $10, $15. But if you get it graded in a PSA format, currently right now it's about a $70 card. The 52-week high, 660. So we got to kind of rule that out as an anomaly there back in the playoff. But if you look at like what the average was in the playoffs, 220. So my point here is to tell you that sell any base card you can of guys heading into the season if you can take a profit on it. Like, get those cards listed, have them ready to go in a buy it now format. Now, if you got a PSA 10 and it's a real hyped guy, like any of these guys you're seeing here on these top total sales chart, then you absolutely want to consider putting those in auction and have that auction ending as their first regular season game kicks off. That would be the idea right there, to maximize on that hype. And if you don't have a lot of competition, like there's not a lot of other auctions for a Prism PSA 10 going, then you could definitely capitalize on that hype. And but the thing is, especially when we talk skill position players, because that dichotomy, the difference between skill position players and the value they garner, the demand they garner versus quarterbacks, you really want to kind of take whatever profits you can when you can. And that's the thought process there. So, I mean, a lot of these guys like Josh Allen, I mean, you can make some serious money right now. PSA 10 base optic for around that $465 price point. We can do a compare. We can do a compare, and we could do a skill position Prism PSA 10 study. We could look at where the current PSA 10 values are for the top skill position players from 2020. Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Jonathan Taylor, T. Higgins. You can see their pop reports on their base Prism PSA 10 is about 500 to 700. T. Higgins is 329. And currently, there you go. Justin Jefferson, 73. CeeDee Lamb, 60. Jonathan Taylor, 56. And T. Higgins, $20. So T. Higgins would actually be in that buy range for me because of the high-octane offense. But the Bengals have a smaller market and fan base than the Cowboys. Than, a lot of teams, actually. Honestly, they're actually a pretty small market comparatively speaking. Let's look at a PSA 10 quarterback study here. Now we got Tua, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, base Prism PSA 10. Jordan Love still staying down there around $40. Now all of a sudden, you see like a backup quarterback going for more than T. Higgins. That's the dichotomy that we talk about. The Tua is at 80, though. The Hurts is now up to 90, or actually 100 was the latest transaction. So you can see where the Tua had actually been staying pretty neck and neck with Hurts. Right now, Hurts is just going a little bit above Tua. Reports have been really good on Hurts this week. So, and I haven't heard just the same reports about Tua. It's not that they're not there. It's just, whatever decides to get reported on NFL Network and ESPN definitely has an effect. The Joe Burrow 265, the Justin Herbert 300. I expect the Joe Burrow, though, to start climbing. The Chargers also have a much larger fan base than the Bengals as well. So those are definitely things to consider. Hey, how's it going, Tony? Yeah, great point. You summed it up nicely. Hey, what's up, Brad? JJ, how's it going, man? Hate Michigan and Ohio State equally. Well, see, there you go, man. So that's good. You have an equal amount of love. Oh, no, look at this. Look at this slander right here. Oh, my God. Bless your heart, Brad. Living in a fantasy, but hey, man. I'm having trouble finding 2020 retro rookie ticket autos on the PSA Pop Report, the non-optic out of 21s. Any chance you can show us newbies how to find things on that site using that card as an example? What, on the PSA Pop Report? I would just go to, because there's not going to be that many. So I don't. Yeah, okay, the retro rookie ticket auto. So there's probably not going to be very, very few, if any, out there. But you're basically going to PSA Pop Report, and I think that'll take you directly to it. Yeah, you go to psacard.com/pop, and that should take you directly to it. And then what you do is you search for a 2020 contenders, and then that should filter down. Then we go football cards. 2020 Panini contenders, and then you just go there. And now, once we get here, I would do a Control F on your keyboard and type in retro and see if we find anything. And I don't think that's exactly what it's called, although it should be what it's called. I think it's called like the championship or the. So the way to find out is go to tcdb.com, trading card database, and then pick a player. So if we want to pick Joe Burrow, because he's probably, him and Justin Herbert are going to have the most submitted cards. So this is going to give you your best chances of finding that card. You go filters, 2020, and then under the click filters, after you go 2020, under the brands, then we're going to go Panini Contenders. And we're going to apply. And then here we want to look for that 2000 rookie ticket RPS gold. So that's what it's called, just a 2000 rookie ticket RPS. So there you go. You can see that 2000 rookie ticket RPS. So it doesn't have actual retro in the word. So if we search here and search 2000, no, nothing. I am under 2020 contenders, right? Yeah, 2020 Panini Contenders. All right, so let's search Joe Burrow. Okay, here we go. Joe Burrow, autograph, playoff, autograph stub, wild card, team helmets. Those are the short print variation, team helmet, wild card. And they don't have it in here. Yeah, it's not in here from what I'm looking at, unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to do some more research on that because it's not in the PSA pop report. But that would be how I do it. I don't see it in the PSA pop report. Tony Mancuso, with the reports of Lance's inconsistency, which are cards to invest in without breaking the bank? Dude, cards to invest in right now for Trey Lance is incredibly difficult. His cards are incredibly expensive. I honestly cannot recommend that you touch any of them, dude. The cards for 2021 Trey Lance, I mean, the thing was he diced up that Green Bay second team defense pretty well in the limited time he had in the first preseason game. I know there are some inconsistent reports, but overall, there's a massive hype train right now for Trey Lance, and a lot of people on that. For better, for worse, it is what it is, and I think the jury's still out on him because of the limited playing time, and there's so much speculation, polarizing opinions on him. These are the recent transactions, so. I mean, the values for Trey Lance, like if you want to get into a base one, would be like a Prism Silver, right? It's going to be a safe liquid card, a lot of transactions, look for good centering, stuff like that. But at $90, that's still that's a pretty penny, man. It's a pretty penny, not going to lie. Optic Hollow going for a little bit more at around $100. So these are expensive cards, absolutely. His cards are very hyped up. I cannot comfortably recommend that you buy any Trey Lance. And then you don't want to get like a base playbook, something like Sage, even the base Mosaic, Absolutes. I mean, just don't do it. Don't do it because it's going to take an extraordinary amount of wins and performances for those to really go up in value just because of the absurd amount of supply of them. You really want to target more of these short print, serial numbered autograph cards. And when you go to that, they're just super expensive, man. So when I see base cards, base optics, base black prisms going for $20, $30 of a 2021 rookie, any 2021 rookie, whether it's a quarterback or skill position player, you're going to have a hard time to get those cards to continue to go up in value. Now, they do play the Bears week 1. And I still think even with the win there and a decent Trey Lance performance to get that base optic to go up to 30, 40, now we're starting to talk. Trey Lance has got to be in that MVP talk. Trey Lance has got to be in the MVP talk. 49ers got to go 3-0. You guys see that actually happening? I mean, that's tough. Terrace Marshall, I like Terrace Marshall. You know, solid athletic profile. LSU, former LSU player. He had injury concerns, so he's got a little bit higher fragility. But the guy ran a 4.45 on his pro day. That puts him in the 86th percentile speed score. He's also a second-year player. So I think right now he's like a wide receiver 3 on the depth chart. Baker Mayfield, definitely an upgrade over Sam Darnold. He definitely likes to play some of that hero ball. So you can see these big spike games from Baker Mayfield if his shoulder is healthy. And Matt Rule is desperate for wins, so he's going to allow Baker to do what Baker does out there and play that hero ball to get these wins if need be. Some very interesting cards can be found, like a rookie silver Prism auto for $18.50. That's not bad at all. Bad price. The problem is DJ Moore is dominant on that team. I would rather you invest in DJ Moore because Robbie Anderson's still going to demand some targets as well. Robbie Anderson has very few rookie cards available. So I like Terrace Marshall, but there's definitely some fragility concerns already. And, DJ Moore is just such a dominant wide receiver. He's going to command a solid target share. He is the star of that wide receiver room. So, and his prices are still, in my opinion, very favorable. So I'd rather invest in DJ Moore over any of those guys. No, it's not. It's not retro either or throwback, Dan. It is 2000 rookie ticket RPS is what it's called. Just 2000 rookie ticket RPS. Brian, well, of course, yeah. I mean, so there's a bunch of guys, and my primary focus right now is targeting good athletes that are buried on depth charts on high octane, prolific offenses. And so I look at guys that are on the Chargers, the Rams, the Bills, the Bucks, the Bengals, any of these high octane offense teams that I project have a really solid chance to make the playoffs, be in a lot of shootouts. The Raiders, I'm targeting players on those teams that aren't necessarily at the top of the depth chart. One guy I really like that I've been pounding the table for, I just made a solid flip for him, is Josh Palmer. He's a wide receiver 3 for the Chargers, but I sniped a rookie ticket auto blue optic numbered out of 75 in auction. You guys saw it in a mail day a couple weeks ago. I sniped that for, I think, $25, and I just sold it for $55. That's, right over a double up. So that's the kind of thing that's easy to do when they're attached to those big market, high octane offenses. Look for good athletes. I still think you could potentially, with the volume, the volume of supply of 2021 products still leaking out into the market, you can snipe these really good cards in auction and then turn around, take really good photos of them and list them in a buy it now format and double your money. I mean, I just did it on this Josh Palmer. So he's obviously one of my favorite sleeper wide receiver targets. But I mean, trust me, you can find a lot more guys like that out there in the league. Josh Palmer's one example. We talked about T. Higgins earlier. T. Higgins a little bit more expensive, but still, if you can get a $30 to $40 rookie ticket auto of T. Higgins, do it. We saw his value spike last season, towards the end of the season, the playoffs, when Joe Burrow was going on that prolific passing run. That T. Higgins rookie ticket auto got up to $60, $70. So another easy double up right there. Boom. So you're just stacking up those double ups where you can get rookie ticket autos. Ramondre Stevenson, another guy, another sleeper on the Patriots. Stack them up. Put those guys in your portfolio. Have them ready to go. Target those second-year players. Those guys that have the easiest path to breakout. I just sniped yesterday a gold numbered out of, I think it was 5 or 10, Kadarius Toney XR in the afternoon for $30, and it's autographed. So I absolutely I have no problem flipping that, taking better photos. They had bad photos. And it was in the middle of the afternoon. I tried to post it up on the Discord. Nobody was responding or bidding on it. And so I grabbed it for like $35. And so I absolutely see that card as a card I'll be able to flip for 70, 80 probably. So that's the kind of thing you want to do there. Yeah, like even defensive players. My Antoine Winfield Jr. Select field level gold. You guys saw me that in a mail day just in the past few weeks. I already flipped that for double my money. Sniped that in auction for $46. Sold it for $100. Very quick turnaround time. It's about scarcity. It's about good athletes on good teams with scarcity. That's your formula right there. And then if you can find that at a low entry price point, well under what their peers are going for in that same draft class, and all of a sudden you could buy those, you could turn around, buy those in auction, right? In auction. You find these people that end auction during the day, during the week, every week. Monday has just an absurd amount of auctions ending. And let's look at the market volume. You can flip these cards just like this. So this is exactly what I've been doing. So you can see this just massive drop off here, 817, only for it to go back up next Monday. Look at the elevated auction volume on Monday. The auction volume hit an all-time 5-week high of 1,490 auctions closing. So every time these spikes of auctions are occurring on Mondays. And so you have so many auctions occurring on Monday. A lot of times it's a lot more supply than there are bidders out there. And you have an easier time to get cards under value. You turn around, list them in a buy it now format, and you capitalize on someone's compulsive emotions of seeing that player get a nice touchdown in a preseason game or a regular season game, or getting hype from the NFL Network or ESPN throughout training camp and practice and joint practices. So, that's an easy formula for success. The faves, man, the faves. So yeah, good athletes, high octane teams, good teams, and scarcity. Obviously gold is super liquid. So gold is you can feel very comfortable about investing in gold cards like that $30 to $40 range, because a gold card typically of a good player, active good player on a good team, that's $100 card. So things like that are rookie ticket autos for $20, serial numbered rookie ticket autos for $20, even if it's a wide receiver 3 or 4, but they're a good athlete. Like go look at their athletic metrics. See how good they were in college, see how they tested throughout the draft process. How young are they? Like, don't expect the same type of return from a 30-year-old player. But if it's a young player, there's that FOMO effect. FOMO's massive, right? FOMO is one of the biggest learning lessons I've had in the past 5 years, talking about learning lessons. Fear of missing out is a massive driving factor within the hobby that drives values of cards up exponentially fast. Yeah. So that would be other primary learning lessons. Scarcity is king. Rookie ticket autos are one of those brands that you can potentially get in auction for around $20 to $30 of good players, even if they're a wide receiver 3 or 4, even if they're a running back 2 or 3 currently on the depth chart, but they're a good athlete. So it's either one injury or it's one opportunity away. They get that opportunity, they execute, they break out. The value of that card can jump up exponentially, because when you look at it, like at the high end, a rookie ticket auto, for example, is a $50, $60, $70 card. Now if it's a quarterback, of course, it's going to be several $100 card, but skill position players, like people, there is a sweet spot of what I've seen over the past couple of years that people feel good about on a Sunday or whenever it is that they see and they get that idea that they want to invest into a card of their favorite player. There's a sweet spot of about $40 to $60. Think about how much a new video game costs. That's about $50, $60. So when you're looking to itch that or scratch that itch of investing in your favorite player, this new player you just found out about, that's super exciting, that's on a good team, that you just realize is a good athlete, you want to go and get something that's got some scarcity to it, you're going to spend about $40 to $60. And you're not going to want to wait. A lot of people out there, they don't want to wait. They want that instant gratification, and that's it. That's why you're selling in a buy it now format with good pictures, with the scarcity, the good athletes. Now all of a sudden you're capturing that impulsive emotion of instant gratification of that other collector, hobbyist, fan, NFL fan out there, and you're leaving them with room. Like we're not price gouging here. It's not price gouging. It's just you're sniping them in auction. You're doing your homework. You're stalking the auctions. You get sniping that card in auction, and then you turn around selling it in a buy it now format and capturing on those emotions. So, Jets, what's up, man? I'm sitting on some cards that I'm planning to sell. I think there's a market now, but maybe more of a market if they get hot on the field. Take the money now or hope he gets hot. Whose cards are you sitting on, brother? I always say, it's better to take the money now and not risk whether or not he gets hot. We're terrible at predicting injuries. We're terrible at predicting like future quarterback success. Like predicting quarterback success in the NFL is one of the most difficult things to project. Like there's so many famous analysts that get this wrong every single year, whether it's Chris Sims, whether it's Mel Kiper. These guys get this wrong every single year. Either they've been on record talking about how bad Mel Kiper's been on record talking about how much that he thought Mitchell Trubisky was a better pick over Patrick Mahomes. So even coaches, scouts get this wrong every year. So quarterbacks is something very hard to predict because it's very hard to predict how that quarterback is going to perform in those pressure-packed situations when it's time to make that money throw, when it's time to really execute that game-winning drive. So that's something hard to predict. So I never want to get, especially on a young guy that doesn't have the merit yet, like Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford. These guys have the merit that warrant you spending $100 on their rookie card. These guys like Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, they don't have that merit. They don't have that merit yet. It's total speculation, and it's a total roll the dice. It's a total gamble, right? So if like Lamar Jackson has some merit, 2019 MVP, and the MVP season he had was one of the best in NFL history. It wasn't just from a rushing standpoint. It was also from a passing standpoint. He led the league in passing touchdowns that year. And so that was one of the best NFL MVP seasons we've seen. So if he can get back to that form, he's already got that merit. We know he's about to get a massive second contract. Well, he'd probably have even a bigger contract if he didn't have his mom as his agent, right? But he's about to get a massive extension with the Ravens. That'd be crazy to let him go anywhere. So he's looking for that extension to be sealed up by week 1. Big market team. It's the Lamar Jackson show in Baltimore. He's got merit to warrant you holding on to that card longer than what you would want to hold on to one of these totally speculative rookie players. Even Davis Mills, Houston Texans. Think about if you don't sell it at the beginning of the season and the Texans, are they going to go to the playoffs in the AFC with all those incredible teams? Are you kidding me? There's no way. There's no way. The same thing with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, like, sure, maybe he makes a big step in year 2 and he gets a lot better and he looks a lot more like the correlations between him and Peyton Manning and all those interceptions they threw in their rookie season. Maybe. But do we expect the Jacksonville Jaguars to be able to compete in the AFC with the Texans into the playoffs? Highly, highly unlikely. No way. How are they going to get even out of their division against the Colts and the Tennessee Titans? Both of those teams are better all around from top to bottom than they are. And then that's not even to count the AFC West or the AFC East or the AFC North. Are you kidding me? It's insanely loaded in the AFC. So it's such a difficult path. And so those cards will inherently dip in value as they start losing games, as they start falling out of that, being a front runner for playoff consideration. Right now, everybody's on level playing field. Everybody's on level playing field. They're all 0-0. They all have the chance to win week 1. So capitalize on that hype heading into week 1, especially if they don't have the merit to warrant you holding them for longer. To Lamar Jackson, I'm okay. Derek Carr, I'm okay. He's going to play at least a few more years with the Raiders, with Devontae Adams, and they're going to be putting up a lot of points, a potential playoff appearance. It's going to be tough. They have one of the weaker defenses, but they do have a great D-line. So, if that could help put pressure on the opposing team, and then Derek Carr can put up enough points with Adams and Waller and Renfro, then all of a sudden, they're competing and they're winning games. And Josh McDaniels, great head coach. So they've got the merit to warrant you holding on to them a little bit longer. And Derek Carr was a front runner for the MVP through the first 3 games last year. So there's absolutely a chance he could be in that same conversation. Now, all of a sudden, those values have gone up 100% from week 1 based on performance. Like, that's my projection for Russell Wilson. So that's the kind of big turnaround that I expect to see from some of these guys that would warrant you holding them into the season versus just flipping. You know, Michael Carter's probably got PC value to you. So I would say, you know, go ahead. Happy Friday, man. Happy Friday, guys. Sure. Yeah, no, I would never suggest that you hold Ryan Tannehill cards. I've got some Prism Ryan Tannehill cards back from when he was in the AFC Championship game in 2019. You know, Derrick Henry has really helped his game out a lot, open up the field, pulls defenses into the box, and allows Ryan Tannehill to hit more of those receivers. So, and it's a run-first team. But I'm not, like, at this point in his career, he's going into his, 13th season. Clearly not ever going to be a Hall of Famer. Clearly, you know, probably not ever going to win an NFL MVP. So he's not a guy that I'm investing in. He's a guy that may be okay for fantasy football in the later rounds, especially if you're like in a super flex league and you want to get him as your QB2. You could probably get him in like round 12. And he did put up 300 fantasy points last year, which was better than a lot of running backs and wide receivers in half PPR formats. So it's like, yeah, he's a fine fantasy asset, but at his age, he's not going to get anybody excited. Think about what gets people excited, what gets people going wild for a player's rookie cards. It's either youth and mediocrity, you know, like that youth goes a long way. That FOMO, fear of missing out, goes such a long way in driving card values up, or it's merit, like merit, fresh opportunities. That's the Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan effect that we're seeing this year. Deshaun Watson coming back week 12 against the Houston Texans. Ironic coincidence? I don't know. I think not, man. He comes back, or week 13. Week 12 is their bye week. He comes back week 13. And that's it. I do have a hard stop. I have another call today, guys, at 10 a.m. So it's been a blast hanging out with you guys. I got a mail day coming out later today that I can't wait to share with you guys. And there's a big interview coming out this weekend that Carter and I did earlier this week with Lou Janu, who works closely with Gary V, part of the Card Talk pod with Ryan, Card Collector 2, and Tyler. So can't wait to share that with you guys this weekend. Look out for that. Good morning to you too, Tucker. I hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy all those games tonight, this weekend. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.